Good evening and welcome. We're just about to launch the final show of the week, the Buddy Martin Show, Orange and Blue Bloods Thursday, coming to you live here from Northwest Florida. Our correspondents are far flung around the country. We'll hear from some of them, some on their way, some driving home, and some stuck at the airport. Plus, we'll hear from Ben Troupe. I understand you might have some personal news tonight, maybe. We're chatting with Franz Beard, the Iron Duke, and we'll also talk with LorenMeadows and possibly Dan Bond, who tried to crash the party as a fan out in Dallas. Want to hear from you tonight. There's a comment section here. Want to know, what was it like for you? Did you think the needle was moved somewhat by anybody on the SEC Media Days? Did you watch it? Did you even care? Sometimes the media gets so caught up in things they're covering, you think everybody's watching it. Maybe sometimes nobody is. But we watch it all. We monitor it. We have people there. We'll be talking to Rob Browne, who is on the road now back to Memphis. He was there all week. Brendan Martin stuck in an airport somewhere in probably Dallas. A Microsoft outage has Frontier flight grounded. There's one for you. Man, oh man, this is what we're in for in the future, I'm afraid. So stay tuned. We're going to have a good show tonight. You're going to want us to hear the comments of the people who were in Dallas and also your comments. What did you think of SEC Media Days? Did you watch it? Did you care? Did it change your mind? Did it provoke you? Disgust you? Whatever. Coming up next right here on the Buddy Martin Show. Join us. Let's talk about it right here.
Buddy Martin, call him up and tell him what you're thinking. But be kind because he's doing the best he can.
Better, stronger, faster.
Mama says that alligators are ornery because they got all them teeth but no toothbrush.
Hey, what if the voice calls while you're gone?
Take a message.
Bye.
You ready, champ?
I'm ready for this my whole life.
I'm incapable of small talk. But that's why you love me, right?
Kind of intimidating to be in the presence of so many great athletes.
All right, so folks, I'm live with Brendan Martin in Dallas. He's stuck in the airport. We're chatting about what's going on. Microsoft had an outage. He's stuck out in Dallas. Anybody got a room in Dallas? Where's Dan Bond? So Brendan, I wish you the best. Let folks know if we can do anything for you. What could we do for you here? Brendan? Hello, I lost you. Well, there you go. So, yeah, that's tough when you've been there all week long trying to get home and you go to the airport and they tell you, well, guess what? Your flight's canceled. We can't tell you when you're going to be going home. Not a good thing to do, but here's a guy who's home. He's home and ready to rock and roll, and it's good to hear from him tonight on Orange and Blue Bloods Thursday. And Mr. Ben Troupe. How you doing, Ben?
I'm always good. You get so Brendan is up there trying to figure out, hey man, can I get reception? Can I get Wi-Fi coverage? Can I get my flight? I mean, if you are in Dallas right now trying to get out of there, it's probably crazy, and that's probably how Dallas is all the time. Not just particularly for what's going on with Brendan and them, but I mean, but I heard you earlier, talking about SEC Media Days, and did it change your mind? Did you watch it? I mean, SEC Media Days has become. I mean, it's become a spectacle, to say the least. When you start talking about being headlined by these head coaches, these schools, you got Nick Saban commenting on, what he thinks going to go on at Georgia and all these different things. But it's must-see TV. And I think, and obviously it was headlined by the quarterbacks, which a lot of teams like, look, I'd rather just give you the face of our program. If I'm giving you you got two faces of every program. That would be the head coach and the quarterback, but the quarterback is going to take the main stage.
Yeah.
Coach DeBoer saying things like, look, I'm looking forward to the challenge of coming behind Nick Saban. What is he supposed to say?
Yeah.
Kirby Smart talking about Dan Lanning and NIL and all these different things. And Greg Sankey, he gets to stand up there first, the commissioner of the SEC. just talking about how, look, I can do no wrong. When you look at the two teams we added, the teams that's been the mainstays. But it was, what can I say, man? 2024 SEC Media Days lived up to the billing, from the sound bites to the players, the coaches, the fans, the media coverage. And but dare I say, it's only going to get bigger as the SEC continues to grow in prestige. It's only going to get bigger and bigger. And because to let you know how big SEC Media Days is, every other conference media days is going on, but no one is talking about them nationally the same way the SEC garners attention. I was really, really impressed with Billy Napier and how, look, he took the hard questions. He didn't make it. He didn't look flustered. He was letting them know, look, man, I really, really like our team. I understand that if you win, you beloved. And if you don't, well, you kind of, and he said, look, I've gone through some growing pains. I understood, what hasn't happened and what has to happen. And Graham Mertz, Shamar James, Montreal, Johnson, you couldn't pick three better ambassadors. Yeah. Graham Mertz was very, very, very poised, very, very, very confident, very, very assured of himself, as he should be. And like I said, from the coaches to these players to these questions, I think more pressure is on the people asking the questions, because how can I ask something that hasn't been asked? Like, I don't want to ask the generic thing. I want to be respectful to whomever I'm asking the question to. But hey, Georgia comes in knowing they're the lead dog. No pun intended, with Kirby Smart and company. When you look at, is this going to be the year for Ole Miss and Lane Kiffin and company, they got a team good enough to go to Atlanta? Can Missouri keep up the momentum from 2023? Is LSU a player away at the quarterback position or whatever they're doing? And can teams like Florida, as you mentioned, buddy, with these tiers, can Florida go from a third tier program before the season starts to a second tier program before the season ends? It's a lot of questions when you come out of SEC Media Days. But I will say, for a person that's been there and seen how crazy it can be, it's a lot. I mean, shout out to the people. I seen Chris Doran. He showed his whole day getting up in the morning, and he was
kind of embarrassed by that when he showed it. Brushing his teeth, showing us how about the little iPads, things rolling out the eyes.
Listen, well, buddy, that's one of those things, buddy, that Chris is a veteran in the game. When you talk about the media, Chris can tell whoever his producers are, look, man, all ideas ain't good ideas, man, because I can show my day without showing. We all get up and brush our teeth. We all do things that Chris did.
I guess it was the radio show he was doing. Serious, so asking him to do it, whatever. But he did a good job this week. And back to Napier for a second. Look, I mean, we don't have to declare a victory or a loss, whatever. What are you looking for? I listen and learn, see what else I've learned. I look at his composure. I see how he's responding. It sounded to me like he had been working on some things that were very impressive. I can't tell you how much that's going to be affected in the record, but when you say things like, we've changed our entire nutrition and strength and conditioning program, we got new people in there, and we now have a new program, and we just weighed and we've lost 500 pounds of body fat and picked up 500 pounds of lean muscle. I don't know. It sounds impressive to me. So they're doing some things, and we all know they were not strong. They sound like they're going to be lean and mean and stronger and quicker. Sounds like it. But, I mean, I don't know how that relates. I think if for people who just want to make low bottom sports, who obviously keeps commenting on here because he wants to drag down the Gators for some reason, probably a Seminole fan, low bottom. So Billy would have been great for 2012. I think Billy is a little old school, but the things I'm hearing, the metrics, the programs he's doing in nutrition, those are hardly 2012. Yeah, that's modern stuff. So I don't know. Look, I mean, I know he's up for criticism because he hasn't won enough games, and he knows that. Yep. I heard also people who were neutral, who have no axe to bear here on Florida, like Greg McElroy, say things like, the team is getting most disrespected is Florida. Now, that's not a Gator fan. That's a guy who obviously is an Alabama guy, and he's a commentator. And I heard other people say, but for two plays, this is not Gator people. Florida would have been going to a bowl. Had they gone to a bowl and won, it would have been a different story. So it isn't like there was a disaster last year. They missed on some things. They've been criticized for it and should. Yeah, right. I think Michael Burton's right. People are only happy with double digit. I would say on my meter, I'll let you comment on yours after hearing Billy and hearing everybody talk about it, hear the other neutral parties talk about it. I would say that there was a tick upward for Billy at media days. I think he came away with a positive message. I think he stated his message very clearly. It sounded like he knew what he had to do. He's improved his team. He thinks he's going to be better. So I'm giving him the benefit of the doubt on that.
I mean, well, buddy, trying to break down some of the points you said. He said the thing about the nutrition thing, because I think the reason why he does that is I think he's trying to go into the program and try to show people, look, a lot goes into what he does. And people might not appreciate that, but he's saying, look, it's important that we break down everything. Nutrition, body fat percentage, building lean muscle, all these things that trying to give you the inner workings of a culture that you're trying to build. When he's talking about the team and the different things that they improved on, he understands that the reason why I got to give you guys things that you might not want to hear is because there isn't much to talk about it, because you want to talk about 2023. I know you're looking forward to 2024, but all I got is what we've done thus far. And, buddy, this just like anybody else. It takes a couple of years to build a program and a culture. First year was not his guys. Second year, he got a couple of his guys. It's his guys this year. 2024, these are the guys that he recruited. These are guys that's been around the program and understand what he's trying to build. Does that mean he's going to get the wins? It better. Because at the end of the day, the one thing that Billy Napier has realized from the day he got to Florida is there is no time for patience. Because even if you preach it, what hurts Billy Napier the most is not what is going on in Athens. It's not what's going on in Tuscaloosa. It's what's going on in Missouri. That's what hurt progress, because the team you're supposed to be ahead of is ahead of you. Now, that is a one-year outlier, but that's all the progress you need in a team like Missouri, who people forget are in the SEC. They're nowhere near the South or the East, and they're in the SEC, and they finished second in the East last year. Now, there are no divisions this year, but I think for Billy Napier, at a certain point, buddy, return on investment got to start happening. And it's easy for us to say that. I get it from where we sit, but no one has – listen, Coach DeBoer, he's going to Alabama, and they expect results right now. Doesn't mean you're going to win the SEC, but they expect to compete. LSU come out of the gate 2 years ago, new head coach, go to the SEC championship game. They lose, but what have they produced since then? A Heisman Trophy winner. I think the thing about Coach Napier is he said all the right things, and he did show improvement. This is his third SEC championship game, but I think at the same time, buddy, he did what he had to do to save face. He did what he had to do because everybody's watching. But when guys like McElroy and those guys are saying these things, they are looking at, Josh Payton that's come to Florida. They've seen it. They said, look, man, I can see what they're doing. And the record aside, not the record, but the schedule aside, they come out, and I had a chance to speak to Graham Mertz. He said, listen, Ben, we are what our record says we were in 2023. So until that changes, we have to deal with the criticism that comes with it. We have to deal with the naysayers that come with it. But, buddy, we said this. The first 6 weeks of the season will decide Florida's entire year, because they're going to have to get off to a fast start, because that schedule at the end of the year is a gauntlet. They start out 5-1, 4-2, 6-0. That's momentum. So, but I think he did a good job, though, buddy. And I will say this to Billy Napier, not to make any excuses for him. No one knows what it's like to be the head coach of Florida. Buddy Martin does, because you spoke to all the head coaches that have come through here who let you know, look, man, there's hot seats, and then there's the head coach of Florida. So you're going to be –
Here's a bulletin, by the way. I just got a note from somebody online here. Ben Sasse has resigned. The president of the University of Florida is scheduled to resign, stepping down 2 years in office, citing concerns over his wife's health. Led the university since February 2023, announced his resignation in a news release Thursday night. He leaves effective July 1st. Quote, my wife Melissa's recent epilepsy diagnosis and new batch of memory issues have been hard, but we're facing it together, Sasse wrote in the release. Our 2 wonderful daughters are in college, but our youngest is just turning 13. Yet our nation needs a president who can keep charging hard. Melissa deserves a husband who can pull his weight. My kids need a dad who can come home to me more nights. I need to step back and rebuild a stable household system for a time. I'm going to remain involved in serving our students, but I need to walk arm in arm with my dearest friend more hours every week. Wow, our thoughts and prayers to Ben Sasse, the president of Florida, stepping. That's a shocker.
It is, and buddy, and I think the thing about Ben Sasse that we have to understand is listen to what he's saying. Look, I need to tend to what like who I'm attached to, what my number one priority is. And buddy, we've all unfortunately, you've had to deal with it recently, and our prayers always are with you because when you have a high demanding job like a Ben Sasse, and it's always go, go, go. Like Florida is always first, even if you don't want it to be. Sometimes, your lack of ability to be present and sustain that healthy living environment could have effects on your family. And he even mentioned, I need to be a good husband. I need to be a good father. These are the things that take a back seat, and nobody makes more sacrifices than the families of the people who have these high-ranking positions, than a Mrs. Sasse and their children. So my prayers go out to Ben Sasse, and buddy, these type of decisions don't come lightly. He went back and forth. I can guarantee you that Mrs. Sasse told him, no, I'll be fine. But sometimes, buddy, you got to look in the mirror and say to yourself, look, man, what's the most important thing to me? The job title that I have?
Epilepsy is nothing to mess around with, that's for sure. Sure, you feel bad.
Yeah.
It's funny, and this is so not important from here on about the football program or anything else at the university. It's all about family and wife and what have you. But you need, and I don't mean to reduce this to a sports context because it's way bigger than sports.
Yes.
But in a successful program, you need alignment from the president to the athletic director to the coach, all the way down to make it work. And it looked like they were going to have that. Well, they're not now, or maybe they will. Maybe somebody else will. But more importantly, like you're all saying, Van Der, I'm praying for the entire family.
Of course.
Prayers to Ben Sasse.
And sometimes, you know what's crazy? That Ben Sasse let us know sometimes that we've lost sight of reality sometimes. We get so caught up in who these people are, what they represent, what their job title is. It's almost like real life had to happen to them for us to say, wait. Yeah, this man's a husband and a father. And sometimes life has to happen to them for us to like, hey man, let's put on our humanity glasses and let's say, hey, I'm the president of the University of Florida.
Yeah.
That's a lot of scrutiny, no matter because I'm over everything. Athletics is just one part of my job. I still got every other department, every other staff member, every other staff. So Ben Sasse, listen, praying for you, praying for your wife. I'm praying for you. I'm praying for you, that household, because buddy, you know this. It doesn't matter how well you are outside of the house. If my household is in shambles, my life is. So I commend him for stepping away.
I see Rob Browne there is in his car. I don't know if he can hear us or not. He's driving back to Memphis. Rob, looks like you can't hear us. Hello, Rob. How are you? He's not. We'll come back to you, Rob, later. Hello, Rob.
Damn it.
How are you? Good to see you, Rob. Hello, Rob. Okay, he's not hearing us right now. So we'll come back to you here, Rob, in a minute. Back to that personal thing. It's, I had a family crisis when I was young, and I was covering Gator football at the time. And I had some of my closest friends were Gator coaches. And I had a child very sick. And it was really, really brutal for my wife and I. And we had to go up to the university while she was having surgery. And I remember one day I was so nervous, I had to get out of the hospital. And I started walking. And I walked up to the coach's office, and my friend Ed Kinsler was there. He's the offensive coordinator for Spurrier's there. And I walked in to see him. They said, what's going on? I said, well, I'm really kind of upset right now. I said, I'm concerned my daughter's being operated on. And he listened to me and he got kind of teared up. He said, it kind of makes first down seem unimportant, doesn't it?
Yes.
And it certainly does. Everything is perspective. So our thoughts and prayers with the Sasse family. We are certainly hoping that she finds some treatment, they find some peace, and I'm sure the rest of Florida will find somebody to run the programs and do a good job. He would look like he was going to be a good one. But, life changes. Don't think life changes? And I'm not getting into politics here at all. If I told you 2 weeks ago, one presidential candidate would be shot and the other one would resign, step down, you thought I'd be crazy.
Of course.
That's probably what's going to happen.
Of course. But the one thing I'm going to do my best when it comes to this media business is to not lose sight of the fact that I'm talking about people. I am not talking about fictitious characters that just step in and do. Well, these are people. So Ben Sasse and company and people like him, I appreciate you helping me understand that while I have the privilege, right, of being able to talk Florida and sports and different things, I don't want to lose sight of the fact that these are people, men, husbands, fathers, grandfathers. I don't want to lose sight of that, because when I do that, I've made it about my talking points. I've made it about how I feel. And like I said, my prayers go out to Ben Sasse, because, buddy, these type of decisions don't just come lightly. It takes a lot to make these decisions, but I do think he's making the right decision because he's doing it for the right reasons. And like I said, my prayers go out to him.
For sure. Thank you for that. And I know Rob is trying to get in, and you got to go pretty quick here, but life's ever changing. Something happens every year. 2 or 3 things happen every year you don't expect. Speaking of which, I don't know if it's inappropriate to bring it up now, but do you have any personal news for us?
I do have some personal news. I really, really do. This next Saturday on the 27th, I will be getting married, and I am looking forward to it. I am getting married to the love of my life, my lady Cheryl. My mother name. So the thing about Cheryl is this: my mother name is Cheryl. My future wife name is Cheryl, and I'm just looking forward to spending a life with a person that I've known for a long time, buddy. And like I said, when people ask me what makes my life complete, my children, I will never do anything better than them. My 3 children, BJ, Mia, Yaya, they are my legacy. As far as like who I'm going to walk through life with, man, God really took his time. He smiled on me. He's too good to me with everything I've done in my life. And I've been blessed, buddy. Like you, I've been blessed to go way above and beyond. This lady who I'm going to say I do to on the 27th of this month, I mean, words can't even do her justice. I mean, she's the type of person that, if you took her insides and you switch them with her outside, she will look the exact same. A beautiful soul. And I appreciate her being that missing piece. Because, I mean, with everything that I do in my life, and I enjoy, I am blessed beyond measure. I get to come on with you, buddy. And buddy, sometimes, I saw what you went through when you lost your wife. And I saw, I wish I could have been there when you got married. I just, you let me know that new beginnings can happen at any time. It's not an age thing. It's not a time thing. It's a God thing. And I thank God for this woman. And I, as okay as my life has been without her, I can only imagine what my life is going to be with her. Because like I said, my mother, the crazy thing about it is the first name I knew as a woman was Cheryl, my mom's.
Yeah.
And my future wife name is Cheryl.
Well, you know what? You might be going to work for Jackie Cheryl. You never know.
Hey, listen, and at the end of the day, I appreciate everybody with the congratulations, man, with everything that I do and everything I get to do. Buddy, you can speak for it, Loren, and whomever. I just want to be able to share it, with the person that I walk through life with. And I'm looking forward to it. Family going to be there. We try to keep it real. We ain't try to go too crazy with it. But like I said, this time.
That's wonderful.
Yeah, and I make sure, and like I said, she's my flex, man. She is you know, people see her and they see me, and the guys be looking like, "How did you?" I go, "Hey," I just laugh. I'm like, "Listen, man, it's
looked into it."
But
That's
I'm
great.
humble. I really, really am humble.
So happy for you, man.
Listen,
We
we
got
are
in America in my life. I've told the story to some people about how I lost my wife, and then I was lost, pretty much dying on the vine, and through a series of miracles, I got a hold of and found the woman that I was in love with before I married my wife. I broke up with her when I went to marry my Joni, and they didn't know she was alive or if she was well, what her name was, if she was married. And through a series of little miracles, I found her, and we started talking on the phone. And I don't know if falling back in love is the right way to say it, but to have someone like Dawn in my life right now is saved my life, basically.
Yes.
We need to go through life 2 by 2. And I'm so happy for you. You got Cheryl. I can't wait to meet her. You got to bring her on here one night.
Oh, listen. I will definitely listen. You'll see what I mean. She is it's like when your wife came on there one night, we were sitting there talking how you just like, come on. It's almost like you can't wait to show them off and this, that, and the third, because hey, listen, at the end of the day, man, great people deserve great people. And I don't know if I'm a great person, but she definitely is. And hey, man, what can I say? Every time we go places, man, people see her and see me. And I say, listen, man, I ain't even got good credit. And she right here. So, you know.
I went to see my best friend from high school. He runs a restaurant part of the week. And he knew Dawn way back when we dated 100 years ago. And he said to me, "How come you get all the good-looking women, buddy?" I said, "I guess it's because I'm handsome, rich, and famous. Other than that, I don't know why, you know." So anyway, it's nice. So that's wonderful. I'm so happy for you, Ben, and you deserve it. And I'm sure she's a great lady.
Oh, she is. She's heard. Listen, she's heard about my grandfather, Buddy Martin, a long time, and she's looking forward to. She's looking forward to meeting you. And like I say, buddy, y'all, my village is one that is ever expanding, and I appreciate you being a part of it, because I think sometimes, we think that you got to come from a family. No, it could be family you either adopted you or you adopted them. And like I said, I told you a long time ago when we first, I said, look, man, I'm gonna ride with Buddy Martin to the wheels fall off, and I appreciate you beyond words, sir. Appreciate you.
We're family,
Of course.
And next time I come through Savannah, hope I get to see you.
It ain't gonna be no holiday season. I'm gonna make sure. I'm gonna say, listen, no, I ain't gonna. I'm gonna clear the schedule, clear it out.
That's great. I know you got to go pretty quick, but I just wanted to make a few thoughts. I know France is hanging on here. We'll get to France in a minute. We thought we'd get Rob, but he's not able to get in somehow or another. He's coming back from. Let's see if he's up there. Hold on. We'll try one more time and see if Rob is in there. Franz is there. Here's Rob. He's in. Let's see. Let's try one more time. Hey, Rob, can you hear us? Yo, Rob. Hey, Rob. Hello, Rob. I don't think he can see us or hear us. He's in the car. Hey, Rob. Hey, Rob. Hey, Rob. Hey, Rob. I don't think he's listening to. He's cruising. Hey, I'm here. Pick up your phone. Rob. I knew this would never work. He's trying to get home to Memphis. Hey, Rob. Hello. Well, I guess we won't get Rob tonight. So anyway, Rob, thank you for trying, Rob. Hey.
Okay.
Hey.
Here now. I'm driving.
Okay, he's here.
Yeah.
Wait a minute, we lost you. You're gonna have to probably pull over, Rob, somewhere.
Yeah.
Can't hear you.
Really
You're going
bad.
in and out. Yeah, find a place to pull over somewhere, and I think we might get you, but we can't hear you at all. We'll give him one more minute and see. Keep trying, Rob. We can't hear you. Well, now we lost Ben. How did we do that? Now we lost Ben. All right, you there? Let's go on down here and get France. Well, I tell folks about this show, this crazy show. Have friends stand by while I tell folks, this is Rob. He can't hear us. We can see him, but I'm going to tell you about Meldon Law that you can hear and see. Meldon Law, they won't back down. Folks know about the role of Meldon, all the things they do for University of Florida. They're the only official law firm that's a partner with the University of Florida. They're on campus. They now have 4 locations to serve you. In addition to Gainesville and Ocala, they have Lake City and Williston. If you have a need for any kind of law or you want to review a case with some other attorney, call them up at Meldon Law and ask for an appointment. You'll get a chance to go and see them. They're very serious about that. They're easy people to deal with. They're good people. I encourage you, if you need an attorney or need help, that's somebody that's going to be boots on the ground for you and can take care of your needs. Meldon Law. They won't back down, and neither will Franz Beard. What's up, Franz?
Another day in paradise, Bud Light.
Well, you followed the SEC Media Days pretty closely. I talked about it earlier before the show. I thought it was a good show for the SEC. I thought Commissioner Sankey came off as high-minded and very, very aware of the situation. Didn't overplay his hand, overspeak. I thought his address was excellent. So he did his job well. I thought the superstar was Nick Saban. He did really well on the show. I thought the information was good. It got to be a little too much. We all know when we're inside of the thing, we don't know it, but we think everybody's watching every move. I know that I did when I covered it. I noticed that, I made a comment today on Twitter. We'll be talking about the historic SEC Media Days. Some guy fired back and says, what was so historic about it? If you can't grasp that, I don't know where to start, but certainly with Oklahoma coming in Texas, changes the dynamics. So what was already the best conference in football, now it's a super conference. The dynamics of college football have been changed forever. If that's not historic, France, I don't know what is.
Well, the highlight of the week was Sankey's speech. Everything else after Sankey's speech was pretty boring. Pretty much, I don't think I heard a single thing from any coach that was the least bit surprising. I was the most amazing thing to me during the week was the softball questions given to Kirby Smart. Nobody said, "Hey, Kirby, guess what? You've had 20 guys since you had this tragic death with guys road racing in their vehicles, and they did it in Georgia, rented vehicles by the athletic department. And you've had 20 more guys arrested for this same thing. And what are you going to do about it?" And he got loads of softball questions. I thought the coaches went up there basically and said, "Here's our team. We love our team. We're going to win some games this year. Rah, 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 sis, boom, bah." And that was it. Sankey was the one who really came through to me, because what he did was he said, kept emphasizing that number 16. This is a man who has no intention of expanding the SEC. Now, he did make it perfectly clear that in case the ACC were to implode, and I don't think the ACC is going to implode, as much as some people think it will, as unhappy as so many schools are, the cost of getting out of the league, figure $50 million, which is what the average payout's going to be over the next 12 years, times 12 is $600 million. Now you can make a deal to exit, whatever like that, but it's still going to cost you hundreds of millions of dollars. Nobody's going to leave the ACC. And Matt Hayes, I don't know if you read his column, but Matt Hayes said FSU has overplayed its hand. Nobody wants them. And they quoted Brett McMurphy, and Matt Hayes quoted university presidents who say they don't add anything to the league. Here's
what Sankey said in a private press conference near the end saying about Florida State, we're not going to take our pie and slice it into more pieces.
Exactly. He's happy with 16, and why not? With 16 teams, buddy, he has, because we're going to go to the 9-game schedule. You know that. I know that. They're going to let that play out maybe one more year to let the teams get get these games with 1AA schools that they've already got contracted. And then we're going to go to a 9-game schedule, and it's going to be brutal. But here's the thing about it. 9 games gives you a perfect scheduling storm. And guess what the networks love? A perfect scheduling storm. You think for a second that the networks don't absolutely love the idea that every school in the conference is going to play home and home every 4 years, minimum. You know, you're going to have 3 permanent opponents that you play home and home. That's a home and home arrangement permanently. And then everybody else is going to be home. You're going to play home and home at least once every 4 years. It's the perfect scheduling storm, which means that the networks have the best advantage they could possibly have. You don't think ABC, ESPN, Disney isn't just doing backflips over that? And
you're going to have everybody's dream, which is great games almost every Saturday.
It's going to be like it's going to be like the NFL playoffs every single weekend, only with college football. Mm-hmm. Meanwhile, you also have fan bases that can travel to each other. There is a connection there. I mean, you look at this. Texas is now connected to Louisiana, Arkansas, Oklahoma, right there. Every single school in the SEC is directly connected to at least 3 other schools. Hey, let's see here. You got Southern Cal, and how many states you got to go to find the next Big Ten team? You know, if you go east, trust me, they've got issues. You think how many people you think are going to be staying up late to watch Wake Forest at Stanford?
Yeah, you're making a good point here about geography. Geography does matter, you know, and when you look at when someone grouped, it just hit me, someone drew a line around all the states in the SEC, they're contiguous. You know, they're not just strewn all over the place. And that matters because look at the border rivalries. Geography does play a part in it. It's difficult to see how Southern Cal could have a rivalry with the Rutgers. You know, I mean, I know it's not, they somehow think it's okay to scatter these teams across the country and let them all play in some made-up conference thing. There's a reason. Look, I'm even trying to put this together in a column. I'm having a hard time with it. So I'm not a good historian. If you take the history of the Big Eight and the Southwest Conference, back when Oklahoma was the scourge of football out there, and Buddy Wilkinson won 47 games. And you go through the war years when Notre Dame and Army were the dominant teams. SEC didn't do too much back then. But you go roll the clock to the 60s and the great games played by Arkansas and Texas and, you know, those great teams they had, the great players like Doak Walker and Bobby Lane, all from the Southwest Conference, the Big Eight players. All those are great teams. The Oklahoma-Nebraska games were fantastic. Or the best game.
The one in the 1971 game, a lot of people still say the greatest college football game ever played.
I saw it, and that might be the greatest game. So when you think about all of a sudden, the SEC has plucked 2 of those prime franchises from the Big Eight and Southwest Conference. It's empirical evidence that this is, if it wasn't already the best league by far, now it's miles ahead of anybody else. And as you point out, the geography makes it even better because it does matter when Missouri comes to play Florida or whenever Texas A&M goes to play Tennessee. I mean, There's no teams that can't play to where it's not going to matter. Some will be more heated. I did hear quite an interesting subject discussed. You may have heard it. It was on the SEC Media Days panel discussion, and it was Cole Kubalik, and Dusty Dvorak, who played for Oklahoma, who's now representing the new SEC. And they got into a discussion about what games matter and about rivalries. And they got into a pretty heated debate. The first thing Drake's saying he's done a good job of keeping the lid on so it doesn't bust out into the new versus the old. But now all of a sudden you have, I wouldn't say fist pounding on the table, but you just saw some rednecks going on there whenever Dvorak said, well, just hands down, the Red Rebel rivalry is the best rivalry in college football. And Cole Kubalik said, hold on there a second. I beg to differ with you. It all starts for me, he said, with the Iron Bowl. It's been the game and whatever. And somebody else said, how about the Egg Bowl? Well, the Egg Bowl's meaner. The Egg Bowl's meaningless in terms of. And then the next day they came on and they played that clip and they brought Chris Doring on. He said, how about Florida, Georgia? So you can't come waltz in here, Dvorak, and start throwing out to the Red Rebel rivalry.
LSU, Alabama. Look at LSU, Alabama for the last 10 or 12 years. How many times we've come into that ball game and it has decided, it has factored in the national championship race. I mean, goodness, we've got more rivalries. And this is the thing. Texas comes in, everybody's talking about Texas, Oklahoma. Before the Texas-Oklahoma rivalry was thought to be the greatest rivalry in the world, what was the greatest rivalry? Texas-Arkansas. I mean, Richard Nixon even went to the damn ball game.
President's going to it, exactly.
I mean,
sure.
And quite frankly, 14-13, I think it was in 1969 or 1970, one of the greatest ball games I've ever seen in my life. James Street throwing to Cotton Spire and everybody in the whole country watching that ball game knew that Texas had to throw. They knew they only had one receiver. Arkansas, I think, had 17 people on him and rushed 12, and they still got him the football, and he still caught it. And I'm still sitting there watching that image, hearing Keith Jackson talking and looking at that image of Frank Broyles just sticking his head down like this and his hands on his knees, knowing that the only guy that could have caught the pass, and he had him blanketed. LorenMeadows is the only guy on the planet who could have made that catch other than Cotton Spire.
Yeah. He was probably napping like he was just now. We woke him up. What's up, Loren? Before we start on this segment, I want to get back to this discussion about Dvorak and Kubalik discussing what the great rivals were. We certainly can't leave out Ohio State and Michigan. We don't think about that. I want to just mention, I want to thank our sponsors, our good friends who sponsor this program, TitanMRI.com. If you have a need, and Loren's in the medical business, an MRI, we've all had them. Sometimes we don't like going to have them. You get in that little box and you get a little nervous. It gets close in there. What they're doing at Titan MRI in Gainesville is they're making an experience better, and they're trying to avoid you having claustrophobia with their sports or their camera. They also can make it easier for you if you can't get down there and drop your work and go get an MRI. They'll custom make a appointment at night or weekends for you to come in. And then if you don't have insurance, but you're going to have an MRI, they'll take your cash or card right there on the spot. So they're making it easy for you, and it's reasonable. Check them out. If you need an MRI, folks, I encourage you, go somewhere where it matters, where customers matter. Titan MRI will take care of it. Loren, did you watch much of the SEC Media Days?
Yeah, a little bit. I obviously watched Billy Napier, and I saw tidbits of some of the other coaches and things like that. But I did hear him talking about the rivalries and talking about that now Texas and Oklahoma is the best rivalry in the country, the biggest rivalry, and them discussing that kind of thing. And, we all have our opinions, but yeah, so I caught a little bit of it, me, I'm kind of, those things. It's nice to hear everybody. They talk about the team and everybody kind of jumps out there, but me, I'm about that business, boss, So
I think I understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
I think Franz and I like to nibble around the edges some and pick up little tidbits and things that you hear that now make you feel a little different about things, here and there. I'll just say, I said this earlier, that I think that the SEC came away a big winner. I thought Sankey was brilliant in his opening remarks. I think he handled it just right about saying, what was it saying? All 16 is our today, 16 is our tomorrow. He emphasized unity. And they tried to keep it together and did a pretty good job, although a few people coming into the SEC kind of like saying, well, wait a minute, we invented football, Anyway, so I thought it came out. I thought Saban was a star. He was brilliant. I thought they asked him about that, how he liked it. He says, I still view this from a coach's perspective. I just happen not to have a team, which is true. I thought he really did a great job. And one thing I want to say, I was right, Shane Matthews. I saw a tweet today. I've been saying this. Graham Mertz is undoubtedly Florida's starting quarterback. Billy Napier has made that much abundantly clear. However, the tweet said, Florida's head coach also acknowledged at SEC Media Days what many people already believe. Utilizing DJ Lagway this season might be in the best interest of the team. It would definitely make us harder to defend if both players are able to contribute to our team. Well, there you go. That cat's out of the bag, guys. We're going to see.
Let me tell you something that a source very, very close that knows the Mannings very well told me. Peyton Manning said that Graham Mertz is as impressive a quarterback as they've had at the Manning Passing Academy in years. In years. They were not impressed with Carson Beck at all. From, they say, well, he's got a great arm, that's for sure. But here's a guy that flies in on a private plane, wanted to know where the nearest 5-star hotel was, and they had to tell him, you sleep in the dorm like everybody else. You bring your own sheets and towels, and shows up wearing a watch, as he did at SEC Media Days. That's worth more money than probably every single sport. You could probably take 2 sports writers in that, add their salaries together, and you probably wouldn't get what that watch was worth.
You have enough money left over for Lamborghini after that.
Oh, yeah, and he drives a Lamborghini and everything.
Well, here's the deal. I get what you're saying. I'm not going to fall for that, though, because not that you're not selling the truth. I'm okay with him. I think he's still a good quarterback. What I've seen.
Oh, he is.
I think he's the best quarterback in the league right now. I don't know if he'll be in this, but he'll also be a high draft choice. The Manning camp is not a place for him to show off his wares. He's already shown that off. I think the point being made about Lagway was not necessarily that he's better than anybody, because it's definitely Mertz's team. It's just that if you think about it, it only makes sense. We saw it happen with Tebow. Loren, we saw it happen with other players. Just gave him a package.
I mean, you have to. I mean, just for change of pace. I mean, I never, even when when we talked about it in the spring, I mean, I have no problem with them, having a package for him and doing some things and creating some different, eye candy for the defense and creating some mismatches and things like that based upon his ability to run the football and some of the window dressing you can do. You put him, you got, 3 really great backs. You got Eugene Wilson, Elijah Badger can carry the football. I mean, you can really put some of that, single wing concept, Franz, you remember from 04 and I mean from 06 and all that, where you create
Loren, I just dropped something. Go ahead.
You create those, you kind of outflank people, you know what I'm saying, with the window dressing and the motions and some of the stuff they were doing with Bubba Caldwell and those guys. I mean, it's the same thing, and you'd have to, in a situation, particularly if it gets to the point where Florida is having trouble, maybe running the football and then, maybe creating those mismatches and then allowing Lagway to get on the edge, throw the football a little bit, things like that. But like Billy said, and Franz, you were there too. Yeah, we put 2 on. We got to take 15 off. And like you just said, I mean, he's pretty good. I mean, you and I both from day one have been big Graham Mertz guys. I mean, we've agreed. I think we've agreed on that more than anything. And I mean, I think that, like you said, I mean, he plays well both physically and socially. And you and I both know that Manning camp, I mean, they'll tell the truth about you if you're not one of those guys, and I think that goes well for Mertz. So
here's the thing, Loren, that I like best about incorporating this. Every week, a defensive coordinator who's trying to prepare for the Florida Gators is going to have to take part of his game plan and part of his practice time to prepare for something that is completely different with many more options. Because now all of a sudden you've got a physical runner in there. And now all of a sudden you got a guy that, okay, we can run the option with this guy. All right. Now I got to tell my guys, okay, instead of just rushing the passer and going, pinning your ears back, going, boom, we're going after this guy. Now all of a sudden you got this guy coming in here who's got the dive back, who's got the quarterback, who's got the pitch guy, and he just might fake to the fullback and throw the football.
Absolutely.
So my corners can't come up and help. It is, if Billy Napier doesn't use him, then I would have to question Billy Napier's coaching acumen.
Right.
I really would.
And you have to think about the fact that next year you're going to hand the keys to the kingdom to this young man. I mean, he is unequivocally going to be Florida barring injury, going to be Florida starting quarterback in the 2025 season. And you and I both know in this league, you better be ready to go day one. And so they're going to have to get him those full speed reps against top-notch competition. And I think he can help them. I think from everything we've seen, like you said, with the window dressing and things like that, stressing the eye discipline of defense, why wouldn't you have that big dude that can come out the back door, like you said, on a read option, things like that? And now you got to get him on the ground. He presents the same problem that a lot of other quarterbacks present in the SEC for Florida. So, I think that's you have to. You have to. And like you said, I mean, for somebody who is game planned and things like that, teams that are very multiple and can give you looks, the same look, but do things differently, that's a stress on any coach. And it's both offense and defense. So like you said, when you have these things and you're reading, in the read option, you may be reading the down guy. You might be reading the in-man on line of scrimmage. You may be reading the guy that's off the line on the end of the line of scrimmage. And all those things present problems because it stresses the perimeter and the back end of your defense. So yeah, I definitely think that I would be shocked if there's not a package for Lagway almost in every football game. Now, whether they use it every football game, it depends. But I think it will be there for all 12 football games.
I think they've got to use it every ball game, and here's why. Everybody's talking about this kid up at Tennessee, Nico Iamaleava. I can't pronounce his other name.
Yeah,
Iamaleava or whatever. However the hell you pronounce it, I don't know.
Right.
I mean, I studied English in high school.
Well, that's Samoan, so I think you get a pass.
Okay. Well, just the same, I don't think Tennessee did him any favors last year because he did not play. He only played in 4 ball games.
Yeah.
And they say, well, look what he did is starting in the bowl game. They were playing a team that had about 46 opt-outs,
right?
And he goes into a bowl game. And there's no doubt he's got talent. There's no doubt he can do a lot of things. But wait till he comes against a sophisticated defense. Wait, they play Alabama every year. And Kalen DeBoer brings in Kane Womack from South Alabama. Now, people think South Alabama. You need to look at where he was before he was at South Alabama. This guy is a very sophisticated defensive guy. They got to play Georgia. You don't think Georgia's probably licking their chops already, thinking about, we get this guy, a rookie.
Mm-hmm.
They're thinking a lot less of Graham Mertz in that way, because all of a sudden they're saying, what can we throw at this guy that he hasn't already seen? And they hear the comments from the Manning Passing Academy that this guy, that you cannot throw anything at him that he doesn't know. You've talked to him, and I have too.
Mm-hmm.
This guy, from a standpoint of football IQ, he's Einstein.
Mm-hmm.
I'm telling you, this guy is Einstein. And most of the quarterbacks in the SEC are Joe Average.
Well, you look at his command and just the way that, you see him checking, you see him getting guys in position, even last year. I mean, that stuff is just, he has full command of that offense. And like I said, now the next step is, and I said it on Tuesday's show, you know how it is, Franz. Now they go to him and say, okay, Graham, on Thursday night, the game plan's in, but what do you like? What do you not like? How do you want to go? What formation do you like this out of? What personnel do you like that out of? And that, because you have command of that offense, that allows you to take that next step and really be able to put your stamp on what they're doing offensively. So, so that's, and so with him being able to take that next step with the command, and I think a lot of people kind of, forget that, Paul Chris, the end of Paul Chris kind of wasn't great, but Paul Chris is a good football coach.
Yes,
and, and so, with protections and those kind of things, Graham has been suited in this for quite some time. So like I said, now the next step and where you truly are the Zen master of this thing is, like I said, every Thursday they come to you and say, okay, what do you like? What do you not like? What should we throw out? And you say, Coach, I like this. I don't like this. I like this. And that gives, so you go in truly knowing what the game plan will be and having your hand on it every week.
Who do you like against this corner? Who do you like running this route against this safe? Do you like this guy going vertical, or do you like this guy? They ask, those are the kind of questions you can ask. Those are the questions that Spurrier would ask Shane. He would ask Danny Werfel as well. What do you like to throw? Who do you like throwing to in this situation? And you get a guy like Mertz who can been there, done that. There's only one quarterback in the country with more starts. He's got 43 starts. And this is a guy that, trust me, is going to have a really, really good year. And here's the thing, guys, that I really like. What did they do in the offseason? They went out there and got him people to throw to. Last year, it was Ricky Pearsall. And because Trey Wilson had not been there all year, it wasn't until midseason or afterward that they started throwing the ball to him down the field. Now, all of a sudden, you got him to throw to down the field, Elijah Badger to throw to down the field, and the most underrated guy as far as speed on the receiver corps, Chimere DK, who has really good speed, but he's a long strider, and he's one of these guys that just doesn't look like he's going that fast because he's such a long strider, but he gets there in a hurry.
All right, guys, good discussion. Thanks for carrying the ball for me. I knocked over a whole thing of water on electrical cord, a little worried about getting fried, so I had to wipe that up. But while I was away, I looked up the name of Tennessee's quarterback, and it's pronounced Iamale Ava. Iamale Ava.
It's easy for you to say, buddy.
Yeah, no, I didn't say. I just read.
Well, I got it. It took me. I finally got Uman Mielen, and he transferred. So I'll get by Tennessee. The Tennessee's a little further down the line this year. So
well,
we can practice.
You know those hillbillies in Eastern Tennessee are say, I can't pronounce his name. He's just Nico. Come on, boy.
Well, Nico's works for me too, by the way.
Yeah.
Hey, you guys didn't probably heard this. We talked about it earlier. Ben Sasse resigned tonight.
Oh.
President of the University of Florida. Yeah. His wife's very ill.
Oh.
She has epilepsy, and he's resigned.
So
our thoughts and prayers to her and his whole family, first of all, and that. I don't know how that, and it's even too ridiculous to talk about football when you have things like that. But, it's too bad because it looked like he was going to align perfectly.
Absolutely.
What he was going to be doing. And we know, I was taught this by our friend. We used to work for Urban, who was in charge of that kind of stuff. He says alignment is everything. Getting your president of the university in line with your AD, their coach, all align on the same thing was really key.
Mm-hmm.
I heard a lot of that talked about at SEC Media Day. So there's so our thoughts and prayers to them. Hey guys, we can start counting now. Media Days is over. I think it was a very good Media Days for all the SEC. I think there's going to be some learning to do, especially about some of these new guys, as we call them, from the other conferences. They're now members of the SEC, talking about what's the most challenging rivalry. We'll talk about it down the road. We'll have arguments about that, I'm sure. But what a powerful league. My thoughts are that Sankey deserves some kind of special award for pulling this off, how difficult it was. And now, Franz and I were talking earlier, imagine what we're going to have every Saturday. I hope it's what we wanted. We got what we wanted. I hope it's going to be what we wanted.
Can't miss, buddy.
You would like to think that, yeah.
Can't miss.
Yeah.
I got to tell you what, it's going to beat Rutgers. It's going to beat Rutgers at UCLA at 11 o'clock at night.
Oh, wow.
Now, don't be knocking my granddaughter's school, Rutgers. She's about to graduate from there, okay? Yeah.
It is that will be interesting. If you have ever been to you probably have, buddy. If you ever been to New Brunswick, New Jersey, and it's gonna be, and the fact that UCLA will have to play there at noon, some days, or
like Franz was saying,
it looks great in the rear view mirror. Come on, guys.
What we were saying earlier, and Franz is right. Geography matters. Take your pencil out and draw, or pen, and draw the new SEC, the boundaries of it. They're all contiguous states.
Mm-hmm.
What do you hear about great football games? The border rivalries. They're the ones that make it.
Absolutely.
So this is going to make these even more intense. It's going to bring some new blood in. It's going to make it challenging. And I feel optimistic about the whole league, and I feel pretty good about Florida. I don't know what their record's going to be, but I think they're going to be in a lot of games. If you're in a lot of games,
football games.
Yeah. Right? Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, they'll be in the hunt. And, looking ahead, I think we can not only just celebrate what this means for football, but just SEC athletics as a whole. I mean, this is going to be amazing. The kickoff of the 2024 football season is just going to begin a crescendo of what's going to be 365 days of just wonderful athletics. And so, I mean, I think, buddy, like you said, the countdown now, we can really start digging into the X and O's and the scuttlebutt of this thing. But yeah, I mean, you look at Greg Sankey and just what he's been able to do with this conference, just putting them in position and adding the right teams and kind of fending off some that would like to be in the club, but probably just won't ever get the invite to the ball. And I mean, but he's hit the home run with the big dogs coming out the Big 12. And I mean, it just, it's going to be so, I mean, every weekend you're going to be glued to it. I mean, we'll be, we sit up in the press box and kind of watch those ho-hum games sometime, but we'll be glued to them till kickoff most days now, because it just, I mean, it's going to be marquee matchups every week.
Yeah, I heard two references to Florida today by important people. One was when Sankey was talking about the global impact of this league. and he says he took the softball finals with Florida in them, you know, against Oklahoma. What a great events. We're going to have those all the time now.
Absolutely.
You know?
Yeah.
And he mentioned that. And then Saban made a comment. He says, I don't want to see these teams get thrown out. I want to see more teams have a chance to get in, which this will do. He says, look at Florida's baseball team. They were 9-9 the regular season, and they almost won the World Series.
Mm-hmm.
So that's two very good points. So people are watching. Final thoughts, guys, as we go forward now after the SEC Media Days. What do you look for next? What excites you the most besides opening day Miami? Friends?
What excites me next is to see who can go through August without having a significant injury. And hopefully Florida will be one of those that goes through August without a significant injury.
Yep. Loren?
It's Orange and Blue Bloods. And starting next Friday, we got 34 current or former Florida Gator athletes that'll be making the trip to Paris. I mean, I think that just speaks to where this institution is, and those of us that live in Gainesville and the surrounding area should be proud of our people. I was at Spurrier's early tonight, saw the great Anna Hall, who I think is
– I love Miss Anna Hall.
Is on the doorstep.
Great.
Is on the door. I mean, very, very gracious, is on the doorstep of greatness. And then, and Franz, you can echo this. Is there a better star athlete than Grant Holloway?
No.
As a person, I mean, just if you guys
in
don't
any
know
sport,
if you don't know who this young man is, you need to really get involved with him, because he is as good of a person as he is a hurdler.
In any sport. And I say that he is his uncle's nephew. And humble like Mouse. You could talk all day about Mouse, and Mouse will talk all day about everybody else.
Absolutely.
And this kid, and it's not false
modesty. No.
It's just the real thing. So, yeah, and the Olympics are going to be fun. Football is going to be good. You know, volleyball season is going to be kicking off too. I mean, and if Parker Volby somehow or another comes back, we might win another cross-country national championship.
I know you love her. By the way, I also know you're looking forward to basketball season. I saw that picture of Mike McGinnis for those four guys. It
Mike's
is unbelievable.
Mike is 6'1", same height as I am.
Yeah, they're going to be huge.
He looks like a midget. I literally looks like a midget. I said, who's that little guy? It's Mike McGinnis. And these other guys, who was it, Franz? Handload, who were the four guys?
Olivier Ryu is in there. Micah Handlogton's in there. Thomas Hawk and Alex Condon.
Giants.
Smallest guys, what, 6'10"?
McGinnis came up their kneecaps.
The Hawk is 6'10". Handlogton is 7'1" and looks like a midget next to him. And you got Condon up on his toes trying to look taller because he's a mere 7-footer. So. And McGinnis is in the middle, looking like looking like a dwarf. You know.
Yeah,
so,
and by the way, they didn't bring in their 7'8" guy or whatever he is. Yeah,
he was in that picture too. Yeah,
he was.
Yeah.
Wow. Anyway,
he's
guys,
the big guy. He's the big guy in the middle. All right, guys.
Hey, have a good night.
All right, gentlemen.
Guys, good job.
Great show.
All right, thanks, guys. All right, that's the great Loren Meadows and the great Franz Beard bringing you all that you need to know about tonight in the world of Gator sports. Good night, everybody. We're going to take a minute to tell you about our good friends at Venezuela Medical Research. They are special people for what they do in our community. And in addition to the fact that they are good stewards, meaning that they take care of the people in their community, always looking out for the people with a downtown business in Ocala. And they're responsible members of the community. I've known them for a long time. The owners, Joe Sorrentino, ever since his son Joey played for Urban Meyer. And of course, Mary Brantley, the wife of Scott Brantley, one of my favorite people in the universe. Anyway, they do a tremendous job there of taking care of people in their community and also our health. Here's a first-class clinic, a place where you can go get clinical trials. I mean, world-class, right there in Ocala. and you can participate in some things that will matter to your community. If you want to be involved in the clinical trials, there have been like almost 800 of them since they've been there, to find out more about our health in the community. They want to be able to know what we need, how we need to be treated. So they have clinical trials there. They take the DNA, they ship it off to these biomedical companies. They find out more about what we need in terms of treatments, and they can recommend treatments. You can be a part of that simply by going on renstart.net, logging in to find out if you qualify to be on the clinical trials. And if you are, you could be eligible for time and travel payment, and also be able to get involved in some of the special medications and investigational that you get. Many reasons to be involved. So go to renstart.net and find out more about it, and why we say Renstart Medical Research, seeking tomorrow's answers to today's health questions. Have a great weekend, folks. It's been a good week for the SEC, for the Gators, and hopefully a good weekend for you. And I pray for my son to get home tonight. He's stuck out in Dallas with a Frontier. All their planes are grounded over an issue, a Microsoft issue. They can't fly anywhere. So I know he's dying to get home to Stella. And I wish him all the best, and be well, my son. And be thinking and praying for you tonight as you try to get back home. So we will catch up to you next Monday. Another show on right here on this network, Buddy Martin Show. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Tell your Gator friends about us.